The night before my wedding, I expected silence, maybe nerves, maybe last minute vows, but instead there were 3 glasses on the table and a note in his handwriting. It didn't say much, just this: I trust you. Decide how the night ends. And in that moment, I understood exactly what he meant. If you've heard my stories before, you already know he never did things the usual way. And if this is your first time here, stay with me. Tap like and subscribe if you're curious where this one's headed. Now let me tell you what really happened. I wasn't tired, just restless. The hotel room was quiet, dim, and too perfect. My dress was already hanging by the window. The rings were in their box. My vows sat unfinished on the nightstand. Tomorrow I'd be walking toward the man I chose, but tonight my thoughts wouldn't stay still. He once told me, "Routine is our enemy. Promise me we'll never be ordinary." I'd laughed at the time. But now, hours before everything was supposed to begin, I wondered if he'd actually meant it. There were parts of myself I thought I'd already left behind, the version of me that chased the unknown just to see how far I could go. But tonight, that part stirred again. A soft knock broke the stillness. I crossed the room and opened the door. No note, no words. Just 3 men, different, distinct, all waiting without explanation. One stepped forward, not threatening, just certain. He held out a hotel tray. On it, 3 glasses already filled and a single room key, not mine. I looked at the key, then at them, and when I stepped aside, none of them hesitated. They didn't speak, not at first. They entered quietly, not in a line, not like they'd rehearsed it, just a few steps each, enough to clear the doorway. The last one pulled the door closed behind him, and I heard the soft click of the latch settling into place. I stayed near the table. 3 glasses sat untouched, catching the light from the bedside lamp. No note this time, just a folded napkin with his handwriting in the corner. Start with the one who makes you hesitate. I didn't look up right away. I just listened to the quiet of the room, to the stillness they brought with them. Then slowly I met each of their eyes. One was already watching me, calm, patient. His arms were crossed, but his stance was relaxed, like this wasn't new to him. The second was seated now casually on the corner of the low armchair, one foot tapping slowly against the carpet. He looked older, maybe late 40s, with a kind of quiet confidence that didn't need checking. The third stood by the window, glancing toward the sky. He hadn't looked at me yet. That's what made me choose him. I walked toward him, not fast, not shy. When I stopped beside him, he finally turned. His expression didn't change, but something in his posture shifted, a small breath, a tightening of the jaw. I reached for one of the glasses behind me and handed it to him. He took it. Then I lifted my own and raised it slightly, not in a toast, but in a signal, a beginning. We didn't say anything else. The others stayed where they were. No one moved until I did. And when I finally turned away from the window, I didn't walk back to the bed. I sat on the edge of the chair, angled slightly toward the one who still hadn't spoken, and waited to see who would follow first. The room stayed quiet. One of them slid off his jacket and folded it carefully over the back of the armchair. The older one adjusted his sleeves, rolling each one with slow precision. The third remained still until I stepped closer. I stood between them, letting the silence stretch, not from uncertainty, but from something else, the awareness of being observed. The stillness before a shift. Then I lifted my hand and rested it near the edge of his collar. He didn't move. My fingers found the buttons of his shirt, easing them open one by one. The fabric loosened under my touch, the folds soft and light as they slipped from his shoulders. I didn't rush. I wasn't performing. I was watching what changed in posture, in breath, in expression. The others followed in small, deliberate gestures. Nothing hurried, nothing rehearsed. Jackets, removed collars, eased open, each motion quiet and self-contained. I kept moving slow and deliberate, stepping around them, not searching, just noticing the way someone shifted their weight, the way another's eyes followed but didn't push. I let my hand brush over the taller man's shoulder as I passed. He didn't reach for me. He adjusted barely, like responding to a signal I hadn't spoken aloud. I stopped in front of the older one and met his eyes. My hand reached toward his waistband, not with force, not even with pressure, just a quiet pause, a moment that lingered. Then I stepped back. That was all it took. I sat on the edge of the bed and looked at them, each of them still standing, waiting, steady. No one interrupted. No one spoke. I leaned back slightly, bracing myself on my palms, one leg drawn over the other. The robe I wore shifted softly, with the motion nothing more than fabric moving where it always had. It wasn't about performance, it was about presence. The first one moved forward, calm, careful. He came to the edge of the bed and rested one hand near my ankle, not grasping, just making contact. I held his gaze, then nodded once. That was enough. He stayed close, quiet, focused. His hand moved slightly, as if noticing how the light fell across my skin. Not possessive, not suggestive, just present. Behind him, the older man lowered himself into the chair, one elbow on his knee, his expression still. He rested two fingers gently against his lips and kept his eyes on mine. The third stood at a distance, arms folded, gaze steady. He didn't move, but I felt him just the same. No one spoke. No one reached beyond what I allowed. They didn't try to take the moment. They responded to what I offered, nothing more. And when I finally eased my shoulders back into the mattress, I wasn't giving anything up. I was allowing something to unfold breath by breath, glance by glance, without a single word exchanged. I was already leaning back, one hand at the edge of the mattress, the other lightly tracing the length of his sleeve. His breath hovered near my skin, warm and uneven. I didn't turn away. The man beside me sat quietly, at the edge of the bed, his hand resting on the blanket just beside my knee. His fingers didn't move. They didn't have to. His stillness was its own kind of closeness. The third remained at a distance, standing near the wall. Arms crossed, his attention fixed and steady. He hadn't said a word, but his silence shaped the room. They didn't move all at once. They didn't need to. I shifted slightly toward the one closest. He adjusted with me, guiding my posture with ease as I found a space beside him. His arms encircled me in a way that felt more like a question than a claim. I answered without speaking, not with a word, but with weight. His hands settled near my waist, not holding me, just present, a quiet line drawn along the edge of contact. There was no push, no pressure, just a calm, grounded sense that he was still there, even when nothing moved. Another joined us, easing onto the mattress from behind, careful not to disturb the air between us. I felt him before I saw him, the dip of the bed, the rustle of the sheets, the pause just behind my shoulder as his hand hovered near my back. When his palm touched me flat and warm through the fabric, he didn't move right away. He let the gesture linger, like he was waiting to know if he'd been accepted. I leaned into him just slightly. Everything sharpened: breath, stillness, the shape of the room around us. I wasn't thinking about tomorrow. I wasn't thinking at all. Every part of me was attuned to now, the space, the quiet, the awareness of being surrounded but not overwhelmed. No one gave direction. No one asked for more. One rested his hand just beneath my collarbone, light and still. Another's forehead lowered near my shoulder, close but never insistent. And across the small space between us, the third reached out. His fingers finding mine with quiet certainty, palm to palm. I exhaled. Warmth bloomed just beneath my skin, low and steady. It wasn't confined to one place. It filled me slowly, spreading outward, not from touch but from attention, from how present they were, from how carefully no one rushed. When I shifted again, it was into someone's arms, firm beneath me, unmoving, as if he'd been waiting to hold that shape. I didn't resist. I folded into the space he left open for me. His breath was deep and calm beneath mine. Another approached. I heard the soft shift of the mattress again, the subtle creak of weight finding balance. Then a hand settled near the back of my neck, fingers resting wide across my skin, not to direct, not to hold, just to anchor me gently. There was no pace to follow, no rhythm to match, just a series of still frames strung together by awareness. Just breath, just presence, just the quiet tension of being wanted, not pulled, not demanded, but welcomed with care. The sounds I made stayed small, almost silent. My breath came quicker, not because of movement, but because of what I allowed myself to feel. I didn't lead, I didn't resist, and I didn't need to explain any of it. I stopped reaching for control, and in doing so, found something steadier than control had ever been. Nothing crashed, nothing burned. I simply allowed the moment to hold me. Later, I stayed there, not out of exhaustion, but because nothing else made sense. I lay still, my breath calm again, my body warm in ways that didn't just belong to me. Tomorrow I would say I do. He told me it wouldn't be ordinary, and now I understood exactly what that meant. This story, set on the eve of a wedding, unveils a profound lesson about trust, freedom, and the courage to embrace the unconventional in love. The note, "I trust you." Decide how the night ends is more than a gesture. It's a testament to a relationship built on mutual understanding and the boldness to redefine boundaries. The bride's choice to open the door to three strangers, guided by her fiancé's trust, teaches us that love doesn't thrive in confinement, but in the fearless exploration of shared desires. It's a reminder that true intimacy requires vulnerability and the strength to let go of control, allowing moments to unfold without fear of losing what matters most. Her decision to engage with the moment, to let presence and connection guide her, reflects a deeper truth. Life's richest experiences come when we trust ourselves and those we love to navigate the unknown together. This isn't about recklessness, but about honoring authenticity over societal norms, choosing connection over routine. In a world that often demands conformity, this story urges us to question what it means to truly trust and to find beauty in moments that defy expectation. It challenges us to ask, how far would we go to honor the trust placed in us, and what could we discover if we did? This story stirred my soul, and I hope it resonates with you. Have you ever faced a moment where trust led you to something unexpected? What would you have done with that note in your hand? Share your thoughts or stories in the comments. I read every one and can't wait to hear from you. If this tale moved you, please subscribe, and hit the bell for more stories that spark reflection and emotion. Your support keeps these narratives alive. Thank you for being here.